Hi, welcome to another episode of the Wednesday Project. My name is Rick Nickel, and I'm here with Max Parker. He's creative director of Dogs of Design. We're here at the Rock and Brew in El Segundo. This is in their outdoor beer garden. Today's topic, we wanted to talk about elements of web design and the visuals behind pages that go into a web design. When you start a project, what's like a inspiration? How do you define what you want to do with the website?
Well, the first thing we do is do research. We find out what field the customer's in, try to find out if there's somebody that's in their field already doing that kind of work, doing better job than, of course, what they're doing. And then if not, what we'll do is find parallel fields that maybe be close and get examples out of that. That way we know somebody who's done it well, successful at it, we know how they're doing it, and it's easy to kind of take from them what the good parts and then stylize a custom for our client.
So when you look at a site, I could throw a couple out there like Craigslist or Apple. You got one that's like no visuals at all, and one that's got...
Yeah, good example. Craigslist is kind of like the classified section of the newspaper, the back end, where it's very simple, just line listing. All you want to do is dig in, get information. Visuals aren't needed for a guide. Apple's trying to sell you a very high-end, very technical piece of equipment, a lot of detail involved, but rather than just dump it on you like Craigslist with here's all your information, they walk you through very nicely, starting with one visual that shows you, hey, here's the product. You click in, you get into a few visuals, very nicely guided through, and then you click on those individual items, go one more step deep, and now you finally get into the heavy visual or heavy details that would be like Craigslist, where here's all the information I need, and now you've gone 3 steps in, but I've walked you through it visually rather than Craigslist, which is going to dump you into a bunch of data, which you expect being classified.
One of the examples that you gave me earlier was looking at a front page of a newspaper, and as you start going through it, as you get to the end of it, it gets more and more refined and get to the details and guts of the page.
Perfect example. Newspapers understood the reader had to go in, find the headlines, look at the pictures, understand the stories. They're going to scan it, find the good stuff. So they had what they call first read. You read the headline, you looked at the picture, you knew you wanted to dive in deeper, or you wanted to skip it. Once you got to the back end of the newspaper, it was classified, such as Craigslist. They know you're just going to dig through it. There is no finesse to it at all. Here's the data. So in web, kind of same idea. You got to walk them through visually if it's a good high-end product. You're trying to guide them into where they're going. Where Craigslist is, hey, you're going to dig. You're going to sift through all this information. They know that.
When I look at the websites, I can see one website as compared to another one. There's just something about one that pops out and says more. It could be the exact same product or the exact same thing, but
it's all in the details, and people don't understand that somebody will take the same information, how you arrange it on a page, pile up all these paragraphs, put all this information in there. It can be very ugly if you jam it up and you don't know how to navigate it. There's things like such subtleties as negative space. Apple understands that beautifully. They're a good example. They leave a lot of space, photograph, a little bit of copy, nice gaps between the type. You know where to click, you can understand it. Just by using absolutely nothing, negative space, which is kind of a beautiful
better.
thing. Yeah, it's better to actually put less on your site sometimes where people want to try to get everything on the front page. No, you come into the front page, I want that first read. I want to go just like the newspaper. Hey, here's what I do. What do you do? And here's a visual that helps me guide that. A lot of people completely forget to tell people, what do I do when they look at their site?
So you have a guy that has a product and they don't even know how to explain it, right?
The biggest problem is people are so close to their product and they understand it so well, they don't think about the fact you don't understand their product. You haven't used their product. You haven't seen it in action. The one thing is the web is the first handshake you get to the client's relationship nowadays. People don't go to your store. They don't get a piece of mailing. So used to you walked in the store, the sales guy showed it to you, he explained it, you got all the details. Now you're on the website, and so you give me a little tiny picture that's 2x2 and a paragraph of basic bullet points that are technically written. Still don't understand your product. I want to be walked through. I want to see pictures of it in use. I want to see how it works in the field. I want to see if it works with another piece of equipment. And I want features and benefits. REI is a good example. They sell tents. I went in there to buy a tent. they had videos of how to set up the tent, which I knew now how hard it was or easy it was, tent by tent by tent, and made my judgment of what I was going to buy by watching videos, even nicer.
That informational base delivered through video, visually through video.
Visually, yeah, and that's what a lot of people don't think about is the visual. And like you asked, what's the difference is the subtleties of how they present it, the spacing, the breathing, the size of the photo, the size of the type. A lot of people just don't look at that, and there is a difference, and that's what you need a creative team to put together for you. Hire them at least for aesthetics, because you can have the data, but without aesthetics, it still looks like a cheap, the perception of the product is low.
Yeah, I think a lot of the work that I see that comes behind what you guys do is that in that perceived value, that you lift the product, or you lift it to be much better than, or not saying can't say much better than what they are, but to give them the user a feeling that it feels better, you know?
Yeah, because you don't know if they're working out of a garage with 2 guys building the product, or there's a team of 60 of them in a big facility building it. But if I do the site right, you definitely think it's a big team in a big building. So that's the difference, that perceived value can change just by when you come to the site. There's a feeling of trust because they made a professional site versus had their nephew slap it together for them.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the big things that I see is like, you can look at 2 hotels, and just based on how they visually present one hotel versus another one, they can still be the same category.
I mean, Motel 6 gives you a bed, and the Marriott or the DoubleTree gives you a bed. But the way they present it, and there is a price difference, of course, there, but the presentation makes it a completely different feeling. Marriott can triple the price, you feel it's worth it. It's still a bed. You know? So we can take the same 2 products, change that website, and you're going to pay more, or you can perceive it's valued at more by how we present the website. And that's all that can be done in aesthetics. Same information, good use of balance, color, photography. Photography is very critical. You see in some sites where the whole site is good photography with just a few words, still very impressive if it's done right. Yeah, you just feel like the product is valuable just because they hired a professional photographer, did a good job of presenting it. A lot of people try to shoot their own stuff, lots of good cameras out there. It doesn't make you a professional photographer. There is a difference there.
The essence behind that experience of the photographer's eye.
Yeah, the balance and the art director.
Lighting.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, you can do okay for the functional shots, but if you want the shot on the home page that just goes, wow, it looks great, hire somebody.
So they call that the beauty shot, or the
the hero shot.
The hero shot.
The hero shot's what you're talking about. Yeah, the hero shot's the one where you just go, wow, that looks so well, executed that you want to buy that item just on looks alone. You can take something like an electronics and make it sexy by lighting it well.
Yeah.
The car manufacturers known this for years. They shoot it so it looks good.
So that's a good example. You say you can study the lighting and the style of a car shot, and then apply that to your
product. Yeah, and it's sometimes just subtleties,
Okay, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I'd like to thank Max for coming out here and having a beer with us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Take care.